Welcome to Your Delaware, a Delaware-focused weekly show. I'm showing you everything Delaware has to offer and more. I'm Jen, your Delaware Realtor. I have a great show for you today. So today I am going to be looking at some local news, some national news, what Delaware's real estate market looked like in July, and where I think we're headed. And also, later in the episode, we are going to be looking at what mortgage rates did last week and my prediction on where we're headed towards the end of 2024. And also, we're going to wrap up the episode with some local happenings that are happening this weekend in Delaware, all across Delaware. And I'm so excited for these events, and I cannot wait for you to know about them. So without further ado, let's just dive in. Let's look at some local news that's happening in actually every county of Delaware. So let's take a look at Newcastle County. American Airlines has just unveiled that they are offering a bus service that is going to leave from Wilmington, so our Wilmington airport, and it's going to go to the Philadelphia airport. Here's the best part. So you are going to book a trip as if your first destination is going to be the Wilmington airport. And then you're going to put in, say you're flying to Miami or you're flying to, I don't even know, South Carolina. There's so many different places that you can go. So you're going to put your first destination as the Wilmington airport. You are going to go to the Wilmington airport. You're going to park. So you don't have to deal with any of the traffic in Philly. You don't have to deal with any of the traffic and the parking situation at the Philadelphia airport. And take it from me, who is someone that I didn't really understand the Philadelphia airport parking situation. And after my wedding and honeymoon, I ended up spending another $130 for my car to sit there at the parking garage for, 12 days? So that was a nice little homecoming gift that I just was not prepared for. So take it from someone who has been through the Philadelphia airport situation and the parking. I would 100% would have rather parked somewhere else. It's almost like the park and ride. If you think about the park and ride down in Rehoboth, you park in either Lewis or Rehoboth, and you can take a bus into the boardwalk situation. And it is so much easier. It's cheaper. You don't have to pay, let's be honest, the hourly rates for parking down in Rehoboth, because no one really likes to pay, what is it now? Almost $4 an hour, I feel like. So no one loves to pay that. So you pay the parking ride. I'm pretty sure it's like $20. We used to do it when I was younger all the time. We would go, you pay $20. It buses you into the Rehoboth Beach boardwalk. You don't have to worry about the parking. You don't have to worry about trying to check your meter on your app, making sure that you have enough money and that the parking, that it runs out and then you get a ticket and then it's all these other things. You can just enjoy your time. So it's the same thing with this. So essentially, you are going to be able to park at the Wilmington airport. You are going to check your luggage at the airport, and you're going to go through TSA. All before getting on this bus. Then they're going to bus you up to Philadelphia airport. They're going to drop you off right where you need to go. And then you're just going to go on your destination. Your luggage is going to make it there. And then same thing on the way back. You would essentially come through the Philadelphia airport, and then they are going to bring your luggage back to the Wilmington airport, and you will be on your way. It is automatically transferred. So it says right here, it says any checked luggage will be transferred automatically to the motor coach, and passengers will be able to pick up their bags at the Wilmington airport. This is going to save so much time and a headache, honestly. And this is great. And this just shows you that Delaware's airport is booming, right? A lot of people have been using Avelo, which is the new airline that is coming right out of the Wilmington airport, and now American Airlines is adding something to this airport, which that just tells me that we're going to see more and more activity coming out of this airport, which thank gosh, right? Maybe they add more destinations. It's going to be great, honestly. And this starts October 7th, and it says tickets are available now on American Airlines or AA.com. So, and it says it has more than 100 destinations. So I'm very excited for this. I am not traveling anytime soon, but if I do think about traveling anytime soon, I'm 100% going to use this little service. So very excited about that. And also looking at, let's look at the next one. So also looking at Newcastle County. I'm so excited for this too. So if you have been on Naaman's Road in Newcastle County, right near Tally Middle School and the Wawa there at Naaman's Road, there is a park. Right now, it currently has, a baseball field, a softball field, I believe a soccer field, and what else? Walking paths and a basketball court. Well, Newcastle County is proposing $4.25 million to do a facelift to this park. And I think this is going to be amazing. So currently, I guess there are some issues with stormwater management. So they are trying to figure out what they're going to do with all of the, apparently it's 50 years old. So all of the stormwater management is 50 years old. They're trying to figure out how they're going to update it, but all of it is under the facilities, meaning the soccer field and the baseball court, or I'm sorry, the baseball field, and also the walking paths. So essentially, they are going to rip all of that up. They're going to fix the stormwater management system, and they are going to be adding so many different things. So they are going to be adding a baseball field, a basketball court. I'm sorry, I keep saying field. They are going to add pickleball, which pickleball has blown up lately. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've had so many clients say to me, hey, I want to be in a neighborhood that has pickleball courts. I'm like, that's awesome. So I have never played, so I definitely need to get on that. But yeah, so basically what they're saying is it's going to have pickleball courts, tennis courts, a new playground, places to play basketball and soccer, walking paths, parking and drainage improvements. And it's just going to be, it sounds like a better park than what it is right now. And I have family that lives right near there, and I would, if I lived near here, I would 100% use this, especially for like I'm living in Clayton, so we have parks around here, but nothing like this. So this would be great to have. We do have Big Oak Park, which if you are in Smyrna, definitely check that out. But this would be something that would be great to basically just, honestly, like take Nora to go play at the park, or they're going to have, baseball fields, soccer fields, like so many different things for you to be able to do. And I think this is going to be really nice. So they're putting $4.25 million towards this, which, that's a lot of money. And they're updating the infrastructure, which is really great. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It does not say when they're going to start this. They are still trying to... It said that they talked about it in July. They were also going to, they agreed on it in August. And now we're just waiting for when they're waiting on bids to figure out who is actually going to do this work. So awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So now for the third piece of news, the third piece of local news that I know no one likes talking about. Sussex County has started to roll out their tax bills for the 2025 fiscal year. So no one likes to talk about property taxes, let's be honest. But essentially, if your property taxes are not already escrowed in your mortgage, be on the lookout for a paper that is coming in the mail for those owners who don't currently have a mortgage and their property taxes are not escrowed. So if you do not get your property tax bill, you need to reach out to I believe it is Sussex County in the billing department. And there is a phone number right here, 302-855-7871. And you need to make sure that you get that, make sure it is paid. It essentially says that there is a payment deadline of September 30th. So if you do not receive that, make sure that you reach out, because you don't want to get caught not paying your property taxes, especially in Sussex County, especially since it makes up a huge portion of Sussex County's budget. So it is estimated that it will be $202 million in tax revenue for the government. I'm sure with all of those beachfront properties down there, right? All right, so that about sums it up for local news. Let's get into some national news. Okay, so we are seeing real estate deals in America starting to get canceled at the last minute for sometimes the most insignificant reasons. Now, I have not had this happen personally, but I have heard of many agents talking about deals are falling through basically for minor reasons right at the last minute. What I think is happening and what this article is actually talking about is the fact that because home prices are high and the interest rates are high and the cost of owning a home is high, if an inspection or a home inspection is done and even the most minor things come back, because it is so significant in the price and having to fix some of these things, a lot of the buyers are starting to back out. Essentially, they are canceling the deals. I mean, I've seen things where people backed out because like the seller didn't cut the grass before they moved out. I've seen things like the buyer really wanted them to fix something that maybe wasn't marked as a major defect, and the seller is refusing to fix it. The buyer is like, well, this is going to cost me a good amount of money to get fixed, and they're essentially just backing out. So we are seeing a lot of deals fall through. And now, granted, I also am seeing deals fall through because of financing reasons, whether it be that the interest rate while they were under contract and they didn't lock in maybe went up and now they can't afford the payment, or they're right at the top of their budget. And that's ultimately what we're seeing, is that most buyers at the top of their budget, the monthly mortgage payment is more than they wanted it to be, but what is their other option? And essentially they are deciding that they're going to back out of the deal, whether it be that they've just decided they don't. I personally think sometimes it's cold feet, and then they're finding little things to try and get out of the deal. Now, a lot of times they're losing their deposit. If you get cold feet, you will lose your deposit. Now, if a seller says that they won't fix a major defect, then you could get your deposit back. But ultimately what's happening is that buyers are getting scared because it's more money than they expected. It's more money than they have. And they are looking for sellers to basically fix things that are marked as major defects, even minor defects. And ultimately, it's more about setting the expectation of what kind of market we're in, for the agent to set the expectation, for the listing agent to set the expectation on the selling side. So there's a lot of different things that are going into this, but we are seeing deals fall through essentially at a high alarming pace. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. All right, so another part of national news. Have you ever heard of Dinks? I did not know what Dinks meant. I actually saw something on TikTok and it said it was making fun of Dinks, and I actually had to look it up. And I guess, does that show my age? Like, it doesn't really show my age, but does it show my age? But so Dinks is dual income, no kids. So it's couples that are dual income, no kids. And essentially what we're seeing is that a lot of these people are either choosing not to have children, or they are weighing the cost of purchasing a home or having children, which I'm a little shocked that it's come to this. I didn't think we were there yet, but I guess as the cost of everything goes up, whether it be the cost of a home, the cost of childcare, I mean, I can tell you from personal experience that childcare is expensive. Like, it's one of the reasons why I just have decided not to put Nora in daycare, is because ultimately childcare is, I think, especially if she was an infant, I think it was going to be like $1,800 a month. And that was not a private, like, in a home type thing. It was like a daycare center. And it's just, that's more than my mortgage, right? Like, so what's happening is that people are deciding whether they want to purchase a home. And like I just said, if it's $1,800, and then the average mortgage payment right now is around like $2,400 a month. So if you have $2,400 a month in a mortgage, then you're trying to basically, both parents are working. They're trying to figure out how they're going to afford to have a child in daycare, if not two children in daycare, still work their jobs. If the child gets sick, then they can't go to daycare. Then you're having to take off from your job. You still have a $2,700 mortgage payment that needs to be paid. And essentially what people are doing is they're just weighing out the pros and cons. Like they're deciding, while yes, they would love to have children, how are they going to afford to have children? So it's deciding whether it's the American dream is buying a home or the American dream is deciding to have children and sacrificing your career, or one of the parents sacrificing their career and staying home with the child. Because like I said, it's just expensive, right? And then you have one income. And is that enough to pay that $2,700 mortgage and still afford to your basic necessities? Which I can understand. And so like this article is basically saying that they're saying that the typical housing payment is around $2,300 a month, which with rates, so they have a mortgage rate of 6.73. Now, just recently we have come down to this number. So if you had bought a house in the past year, you're higher than this right now. So your payment is higher than $2,300 a month. And this is the 20% down. So 20% down. So that's a lot of money coming out of pocket. So basically what it's saying is that it's $1,450 a month per kid to go for childcare, essentially, which I don't know where they're pulling their numbers from. I've seen across the board it's been more than that, especially if you are if you have multiple children, if you are trying to find an at-home daycare, a facility. I don't even think a facility is $1,450 a month at this point. But basically what they're saying is, in short, buying a house will run you about $850 more per month than raising a child. So essentially that is what they're weighing. So do they buy a house? Do they have children? Do they rent? But then you're not in control of your rent. And it's just, we're seeing more and more people decide either one, they just do not want children, or two, they are deciding they do want children and they are going to try and figure out if they're going to buy a house, or if they are just deciding, no, I guess we'll just rent for the rest of our lives, which I can't say in good conscience that's a good idea. So yeah, this is something that has come up multiple times in many, many Facebook groups that I am a part of. And it's sad. It's sad that you have to make a decision, essentially, whether or not, because to me, housing is a necessity. So you have to make a decision whether not to have children or to have children, and figure out what you're going to sacrifice if you don't want to rent the rest of your life. So very, very a tough decision for many, many people across the United States right now. All right, so moving on to the next one. So here's something that I found super, super interesting. So have you heard of the sandwich generation? So essentially the sandwich generation is you are currently taking care of your parents, plus you are currently taking care of your children at the same time. So you are what's considered the sandwich generation. And it says that roughly one in six Americans have to take care of their children and their parents or grandparents at the same time. So what we are seeing, and I am actually seeing this a lot lately, we are seeing people wanting to purchase multi-generational houses. And basically what they're looking for is either an in-law suite or there to be two primary bedrooms. I can't even tell you how many clients that have purchased homes that have a primary suite on the second floor and a primary suite on the first floor, or they have somehow figured out where they could put mom, dad, grandparent in some sort of in-law suite either whether it be an addition, whether it just be in a bedroom that has a full bath attached to it, like maybe it's not a full primary suite, just because they are, well, one, they're trying to take care of their parents or grandparents plus their children. So, and it seems like because homes are becoming more expensive and the cost of care facilities for the older generation is becoming really expensive, and we're seeing a lot of people complain about the care that you're getting in those facilities, whether you can't trust the people and it's just, or they're miles and miles away, and or honestly it's usually the cost, because like the cost of those facilities is very expensive, and as someone that is on a fixed income and their insurance doesn't cover it, it's actually cheaper just to have the parent or grandparent move in with you and be able to take care of them 24/7 in your own home, as opposed to going to a care facility. So I had never heard of the sandwich generation. So basically what this article is saying is that we are seeing more and more people looking for multi-generational houses. And what I think we're going to see is essentially we are going to see builders who are offering this, or we're going to see this influx of people trying to put additions on their home or a granny pod in the backyard, depending if you have any kind of land. Honestly, I mean, I've thought about it multiple times. Like, I don't like calling it a granny pod, but at the same time, just like a small house on the back part of my property that could essentially, if a parent does need to move in with me, they have their own space, but I am still able to, well, one, keep an eye on them and take care of them. And it's also helping people to afford homes. So it's pretty much, the data is out there that the baby boomer generation is the generation that has the money to purchase homes cash right now, essentially, because they are selling their family homes and they are downsizing. So what we're seeing is that the kids are deciding to purchase a home with mom or dad or grandparent, have them help with the actual purchase, down payment, closing costs, and then being able to afford that monthly payment and be able to purchase a home for them and their children, plus the parents. So this, this is basically where we came from, right? People used to have villages and have all these parents together and kids and everything else. And, the saying, it takes a village, comes from that, essentially. So not only is it helping with childcare, because you have your parents or grandparents, if you are lucky enough to be able to help you take care of your children, but you also are able to keep an eye on your parents, and you're also able to afford a sometimes bigger house, if not just a house in general, with the help of parent or grandparent. So while some may see this as maybe not the greatest thing, others would say that this is the best way, right? Like, we have people that are able to afford a home. They're able to take care of both generations, basically your children and your parent or grandparent, and like keep an eye on them, right? Which is great. So I definitely see, some people will say, well, you shouldn't need a grandparent or a parent to live with you in order to afford a house. And I completely agree with you. I do. But this actually seems to be making it easier for people to qualify for homes, and it keeps your village together, right? Now I get it. Not everyone is okay and can live together. But if you can find separate living spaces, maybe you make the downstairs basement into a whole separate living area, it may help you in the long run, honestly, for your resale value too. So I think this is a good thing personally, but we'll see where it goes. I really do think we're going to see builders start to build multi-generational homes again, because that's ultimately what people are looking for. All right, let's switch over to Delaware's real estate market in July. I was a little shocked by the numbers. So we had 1,648 new listings come on the market in July, which is only up slightly from June. So little concerning on that. So we had 1,023 homes go pending, which is up slightly again. And we had 1,214 homes close, which, crazy enough, is the same amount of homes that we had close in June. So we're not seeing a lot of movement in the numbers from June to July, honestly. The average days on market jumped up to 34 days, with the average selling price decreasing to $440,195, which is a decrease of around $20,000. So if that gives you any indication of where, Delaware's market is headed, that's $20,000 in 1 month, but which is not the biggest I've seen, but that is still significant. The average interest rate for a 30-year fixed rate was 6.82% according to Freddie Mac. So normally in July, we have a peak of new listings in July. So it's normally like we start to pick up in March, April with the spring market, and we're just coming up. And then usually we hit a peak in July, and then we see the new listings come down slightly in August, especially as people are trying to get back into, Delaware schools go back to school, kids go back to college, and this and that. There's so many different things in August. But for July, I'm a little concerned that we did not see as much of an increase from June to July as we normally do. So it seems like, honestly, throughout this entire year, our numbers have been suppressed. And I will say, and I think this highly has to do with the interest rates. The interest rates are high. Even though they came down slightly at the end of July. They came down slightly at the end of July, not much, but they did. This is taking a huge toll on buyers, honestly, confidence. They either can't afford the monthly payment or they don't want to pay the monthly payment because they know they would be at the top of their budget and they're just not ready to take on that payment and not have any money for either necessities or a car payment. And you have your cell phone bill and then you have groceries. And let's be honest, people still like to enjoy life. And I know that that is not a necessity, but they still like to be able to have some kind of spending money, whether it be that maybe they needed new clothes that month or they needed something. So we are starting to see the Delaware's market slow down. What I am seeing is that homes are staying on the market longer, but it seems to be that the sweet spot is around $375,000. So anything priced below that is flying off the market. But if you are priced above that, we are sitting on the market. Now, granted, this take into consideration, this also means the condition of the home, whether it's a desirable area. There's many different factors that go into this, but I am seeing that the homes that are priced under $375,000 seem to be flying off the market, more so than homes that are priced over that. Now, I will say that last week we did see mortgage rates kind of give us some kind of relief. I saw some mortgage lenders that were able to offer mortgage rates for conventional loans in the high fives. I think I was looking at a 5.99%, which I feel like it has been so long since I've been able to say that. Well, April of 2022 is when we started to see rates go up slightly. I think we were it's been like 2 years essentially that I've been able to say that we have rates in the fives. Like, that's crazy. It doesn't feel like that, at least not for me, but it has been almost 2 years. Yeah, 2 years since I've been able to say, hey, rates are in the fives. We're still that's still pretty low. And yeah, I do think that we've seen our peak. I think when we saw rates that were just sitting under 8%, I think that was the peak, and that was in October of 2023, and we have slowly, at a snail's pace, come down from that. So I do think that hopefully we're headed in the right direction. But speaking of mortgage rates, So we did see mortgage rates come down. So we did have a very weak job report come out, which showed that the unemployment rate is at 4.3%. And this is the highest that it has been in over 3 years. So this triggered the sum rule, which basically couple this with the disappointing job creation numbers. Essentially, the markets panicked, mortgage rates dropped a half a percentage point and then another 0.25%. And then the stock market, there was massive sell-off. And even though everything rebounds, so, we're not seeing that still, it was definitely giving triggers of, or like showing signs of a recession either being close or very near. Now, like I said, everything rebound, but in that panic moment, we did see mortgage rates drop because the mortgage rate does follow the 10-year treasury yield very closely. So that is a number that we need to watch. So as of last week on August 8th, Freddie Mac is reporting that a 30-year fixed rate is currently sitting at a 6.47%. Now, I always go off of Freddie Mac's website, even though it is slightly delayed. And the reason is because I'm not a mortgage lender. So this is why I go to Freddie Mac. So currently what I would do is if you are if you're shopping for a home, if you're thinking about shopping for a home, I would reach out to a mortgage lender because these rates, like I said, are about a week behind. So keep in mind that the mortgage lender that you reach out to may have better rates than what I'm telling you. Essentially, what I would say is keep an eye on Freddie Mac's website if you are looking to just kind of get a gist. Now, Freddie Mac does go off of our credit score in the high sevens. So if you are someone that is sitting maybe slightly below that or even significantly below that, you may not get that rate that they have on the website. But like I said, reach out to a mortgage lender, let them run your information, give them your documents. And at this point, at least let them give you a budget, because that's ultimately where we want to start with. We want to get a budget so you can start looking at homes, and then you can, once you're under contract, is when you can lock in that rate. So kind of keep that in mind, because I feel as if there is this notion out there that because rates are where they are, you can lock in before you go under contract, and you currently cannot. That is not an option. So you do need to have a ratified contract in order to get the mortgage process started, and then you can lock in your rate. And your mortgage lender, they're in this business, so they know when to lock the rate and when to tell you to hold on for a second, because they can kind of see the future because they're reading the markets, a little better than I can now. All right. So it is expected that the Fed will make a rate cut to the Fed rate in September. There's been some numbers that have been thrown around lately. I think it is going to be 25 basis points, which will put downward pressure on mortgage rates. And like I just said, the 10-year treasury yield is the number that we need to keep an eye on, because this is the number that is going to dictate where mortgage rates are going. So if the Fed does make that 25 basis points cut, I do think that because there's anxiety of a looming recession, that it's going to keep the yield on the 10-year treasury low. So I do think that we are going to see that downward pressure on mortgage rates. And I don't see us seeing another Fed rate cut before the end of the year. If it did come, it would be in December, which then ultimately would put another downward pressure on mortgage rates. But I just don't see mortgage rates going off a cliff, essentially. I think it's going to be very gradual. I mean, we're already seeing, for example, so many refinances coming in. For the people that have purchased a home in the past, I would say 2 years, if not a year and a half, we're seeing a significant influx of mortgage applications coming in for refinances, because the people that essentially bought when they were in the sevens are able to refinance now in the high fives, which we've talked about in multiple videos. Like, it has to make sense. You have to make sure you're going to want to be in the house for at least 3 to 5 years. You're going to have to figure out what your break even point is, whether it makes sense. whether you have enough equity to roll those closing costs in. If you don't, then just know that you will have closing costs associated with your refinance. And then with those costs, you need to figure out, does this make sense? How much you have to be saving at least $200 a month for it to make sense. So there's many different factors to take into consideration when looking at a refinance. So make sure that you reach out to your mortgage lender so that you can decide whether it makes sense for you. All right, so moving right along. So the other night we went and grabbed ice cream at Marmar Ice. It is in Smyrna. It is right off of Route 13. They are located next to the shopping center that has like Pizza Hut, the Chinese place. It's right across the street from Rita's Water Ice, actually. And it's right in a corner spot. And they have so many different flavors. And actually what's great is that my husband is dairy-free and they had dairy-free options. So he actually was able to get an ice cream, which is not normally, it's not normal. There's only a couple places in the Delaware area that has dairy-free ice cream. So we were very excited. So I got a waffle cone with, I believe, 3 different flavors because I am a huge fan of ice cream, but I love that they actually have this display case where they have ice cream cakes and they have different grab and go items. They have so many different toppings. So definitely check them out. Like I said, they are located right off of Route 13 in Smyrna, and I cannot wait to go back. I would love to go back tonight, but we'll see. No. All right, so a couple different things that are happening this weekend. So for those that don't know, Middletown has actually been having a farmer's market on Saturday mornings from 9 to 12 p.m. right near the Apo Library. So it's right off of Main Street in Middletown. They have so many different vendors. So whether you're looking for produce or you are looking for meats, like Powers Farm has been there. They've been selling different kinds of meats, whether it be like you can buy like a half a cow or stuff like that. There are different vendors in there, whether you're looking for flowers or, like I said, produce or little handmade things. Like there's honey, there's so many different things. Definitely check them out. I believe it is running from May to October. They've had, like in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of people going, but now they've had a huge turnout. I think honestly, it's just more people know about it now, and I definitely want to check them out. It seems like a great time, and it seems like they have lots of different things that you can buy that it's like local produce and stuff like that. I would rather support produce than big box chains. So something else that I just realized. So Fish is coming to Dover Downs this weekend. So they are actually starting August 15th until I believe it's August 18th. This is the first festival that we have seen at Dover Downs since 2022. So for those that don't know, we used to have Firefly, and they, for some odd reason, canceled Firefly for 2023, and I believe they are not having it again for 2024. If you're driving by Dover Downs, I saw these like white tents and I couldn't figure out what it was, and then I realized it's because Fish is coming into town. So they are expecting 45,000 people to be in Dover this weekend. So do expect traffic delays, or whether it be that they've shut some roads down. I fully expect with 45,000 people that Dover Downs is going to be crazy. So just keep that in mind if you are traveling through the area. That is basically what it is. I know that Fish brings on a lot of people that follow them, like all throughout the country. So definitely it's going to be a great time. I'm excited for that. And hopefully that means that we'll see more festivals coming to Dover Downs, because I never went to Firefly, but I heard that it was a great time. So I'm kind of confused why they canceled it the past 2 years, but, and speaking of more festivals, we do have Delaware's first Caribbean festival that is coming to Dover on the 17th, which is Saturday. There is a flyer, which I will put up on the screen, and they're going to have all types of Caribbean music and I believe food and different things, but this is the first ever Caribbean festival. So definitely check that out. And I think that's going to be a great time. All right. So here's one of the things that I saw this article the other day and I was absolutely shocked by it. So apparently the open concept is out, right? It's out. Like I saw this article and it says home trends in and out. And one of them being that the open concept is out. I could not believe it. So basically what it's saying is in is walls and doors, out is open floor plans. It says an open floor plan was once the most sought after element for home buyers, but designers are saying they're on their way out. If you've considered adding a wall or a sliding barn door to break up your floor plan a bit more, consider this your sign to go for it. I am shocked by this. I just want to say this because I don't understand why. Because like from a heating and air standpoint, like as soon as we like, cause like for those who don't know, if you haven't watched my other videos, I bought my grandmother's house and it was built in 1978. There were walls everywhere. Felt like there were walls everywhere. So we took all of them down, all of them. So for us to, and I felt, right, so when we took the walls down, like my heating and air bill became cheaper. I felt like you could feel like you were not, like there was part, like, especially in the winter, this used to drive me insane, especially in the winter, my front, like dining room area would be freezing when the rest of the house was like warm, and I could not figure out. We have a wood fireplace. I couldn't get it to come up to the front. We took some walls down, and all of a sudden, I don't feel like I'm freezing in that front room anymore. So I don't understand this. This like really blows my mind. And like builders are not on this. I can tell you that right now. So builders are definitely, it's the open floor concept. Now I have heard multiple people say that they don't like the fact that like there isn't like a designated like foyer area, especially in the new builds. It's really like you come in and you're kind of like in your front, either front living room or your front like dining room area, or you're just like in your kitchen. But I definitely like the open floor concept. I'm really, really upset by this because like, especially like, cause I like to entertain and host. Like if I'm in the kitchen, like I 100% want to be able to see my guests in the rest of the house. Like I don't want to be separated from them, especially if we have dishes to do, or if I'm like cooking something, like I want to be a part of the party too. So I'm very upset by this. So let me know down in the comment section below if you think that open floor plans are on their way out, or if you think that walls and doors are back in. I just like, this blows my mind a little bit. So I don't want it. I don't think this is it. I don't think that should go anywhere. I'm very bummed by this, that's, you know what, it's kind of like bell bottoms. Like they were big when I was like younger, and then they were out, and now I feel like they're coming back. So I guess it's like different trends go in and out, but this is one I was hoping it would stay. Wait, don't bring me my walls, people. I'm the type of person, I get rid of the walls. Something that has helped me so much with all of the construction that's been going on in my house is my air purifier. I did not realize just how bad the air was when we are doing construction in our house. So I just want to tell you about my air purifiers that I bought for the living room and for the basement. So they are from Levitt. So I bought them on Amazon Prime Day, and they are amazing because they are app enabled. So I have the app, and you get to name you can name them, which is great. So like I think I have Susie downstairs and I have Lola upstairs. Totally random names. I don't even know where they came from. I just decided that I was going to name them that, and they will tell me when the air quality is low, and they will come on automatically. So if it's red, obviously the air quality is really bad. And then we have orange, which is like, okay, we're fixing the air quality. And then we have green and blue, which essentially says we're good to go. We're just going to monitor it. And you can see on the app when they came on, when they went off, what the air quality was, what it went down to. It tells you when you need to replace your filter. You can set up a schedule. I also have 2 other air purifiers, one in Nora's bedroom and one in my bedroom. And essentially I have them set, they are smaller ones. So they're not as, I wouldn't say they're as smart as the other two, my bigger ones, but I still love them because I set them up on schedules and it tells me when I need to replace the filter. It also tells me what the air quality is, and I can see everything in one app and control them. So if I feel like maybe, like, for example, there were a couple days, like especially last week, where I just felt like it was just moist. It was like a lot of moist in the air and I turned them on and I really felt like they helped a lot. So I definitely recommend, if you are someone that is kind of worried about your air quality, whether it be in your bedroom or your living room, they are white, which is great, especially for my house because they blend right in. And essentially, like, I love the fact that I can control them from my app. I'm a big smart home person. All of my lights are smart. If I could control everything from my phone, I would. I'm looking into getting smart blinds. I have a smart door lock. Everything. Everything is controlled smart by an app because I want to be able to, especially if I forget something, be able to get on my app and just be like, oh, I can just hit a button. And like, trust me, it works, because there are plenty of times where I thought of something while we were in Mexico and I hit a button and hundreds and hundreds of miles away, I was able to control it in my house, which is really nice. All right. So I asked on my Instagram for people to give me some questions of what they had on basically what was going on in the real estate market. One of the questions that was asked was, do I need to sign a buyer representation agreement? So if you have not seen it, we have a huge change coming to the real estate market. So I made a video, and you can see it right here, and it basically explains that on August 17th, everything is basically changing in the real estate market. So no longer is the seller going to be paying not only the listing agent and the buyer's agent. It's going to be decoupled essentially. So now when a buyer places an offer on a home, you will have an offer, and then you will also have the form that says what you're negotiating for the buyer's agent commission. In that video, I did say that another thing that is changing is that the buyer, if you want to tour a property, it is now required that you sign a buyer representation agreement before stepping foot in the home. And the answer is yes. So as an agent, if we are caught with a buyer, and they will be doing audits for us, if we are caught without a buyer representation agreement for our buyers, it is a $10,000 fine for the agent, plus they have the chance of losing their license. So no, you will not be able to tour a property without signing some type of buyer representation agreement. Now, there are different options. There's a touring agreement. There is just a buyer representation agreement outright. And I believe there's one other form. So you will have the opportunity to negotiate with your buyer's agent, and you can amend that buyer's representation agreement as well. So keep that in mind. So essentially what it is saying is either you're going to pay the buyer's agent commission, or you're going to ask the seller to give you a credit to pay the buyer's agent commission, or you're going to ask the seller to pay your buyer's agent commission. There are a couple different ways that this is going to work, but essentially you will need to sign that agreement before touring a home. And then the next question is, do I need to pay a commission? So yes, and maybe no. So like I just said, there's a couple different options. So one is that you decide that you're going to pay your buyer's agent commission. One is you ask the seller to give you a credit, which then helps to pay your buyer's agent commission, or you ask the seller in your offer to pay your buyer's agent commission. So there are a couple different ways that could happen. So while yes, you may need to pay a commission, or the seller could be offering just outright the buyer's agent a commission and you don't even have to worry about it. So that's why the answer is yes and maybe no, really. But this is why it is always, always, always important to make sure you know who your buyer's agent is, that you know, like, and trust them, that you are comfortable with them, that you feel like you are being represented in the transaction, because now everything is changing as of August 17th. So I'm going to wrap this up. I know this has been a pretty long episode. So I really hope that you found this to be helpful. I know we went over a lot. So we went over some local news, some national news. We went over Delaware's real estate market in July, and then we went over the mortgage rate update and where we kind of see things headed. Like I said, I do think that we will see some downward pressure as we head into the end of the year on mortgage rates, but I would not try and time the market. So if you are in a position to purchase, I would absolutely love the opportunity to help you. So once again, my information is down below. So please feel free to shoot me an email or get set up on my calendar. If you are a seller, you can also get set up on my calendar and we can talk about a personalized CMA and get you taken care of. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Your Delaware. I will be coming out with weekly shows that go over, like I said, national news, some local happenings, because I want to make sure that you know what Delaware has to offer. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to give me a like. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a new video. And I will see you on next week's episode. Hey, if you are thinking about moving to Delaware, you should definitely check out this video right here. And if you would love to tour Delaware new construction homes with me, check out this playlist right here. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel.